Oh, how fabulous. Hi, welcome to How Fabulous. I'm Toni from Toni & Co. And today we talk to the very fabulous Andy Quinn from ETCH Sparkling, which is an alcohol-free sparkling drink that is made right here in Melbourne on the Mornington Peninsula. And it is very, very fabulous and tasty and delightful. Now, Andy and I met many years ago through an advertising shoot that I was producing for Country Road, and her son actually ended up being in the shoot, which was very fabulous. And we got to know each other through that, and I've followed her career over the years and was really interested when she started up the business ETCH Sparkling with her husband Jason. And we go into why that happened and how that happened, which is a really lovely story. So there you go, Andy Quinn. We will be talking to her. I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe and follow and share the love. Hello, and welcome to How Fabulous by Toni & Co. It is me, Toni, from the Toni & Co. And today we're talking to the very fabulous Andy Quinn from ETCH Sparkling, which is in fact, I'm going to let her tell you all about it, but Melbourne-based fabulous business here on the Mornington Peninsula, I believe. Andy.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for agreeing to be on. You're our fourth guest for How Fabulous.
Nice.
And I'm very excited that you're here. You and I met, I want to say 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe?
I think Darby was around nearly 5 and he's just turned 11.
What? I'm dying. What?
I know. Grade 5.
Have I got my fan here somewhere? So Darby, for those that don't know, which you won't, because how do you know Darby? Darby is one of Andy's beautiful children, and that is the reason we actually met, because Darby actually ended up being in a Country Road kids shoot that I was producing.
That's right.
And back in those days, I used to do a lot of street casting and sometimes go through agencies and what have you. But Darby came to me through a friend of a friend, actually maybe it was a business colleague, and then she knew you were her friend, and then you rang me and something happened, and then they were like, oh, Darby.
I think she screenshot from my Facebook and sent you a picture of Darby.
And he's just the most beautiful little boy.
He's a beautiful boy, inside and out.
And that is the thing, he is very much inside and out, a lovely, and I was thinking about this the other day, and so was Maya, your other child, who's actually been in a shoot for me as well for Blundstone. They're actually really beautiful children in that they have lovely temperaments and they're so polite. Like, it's really cool, like, you know, and that's a big thing to be able to say that about somebody's children. So all credit to you.
Thank you. You probably got a mix of children when you were working with lots of little ones, but
no, they were all fantastic.
They are. Sometimes I don't know where they get their temperament from, because it's not necessarily from me. They're very calm, chilled, placid children.
He was so cool. Like, Darby hadn't done any modelling before that, and he was a champion. It was fantastic. He's still doing Country Road, isn't he?
He went on to do about 15 or 16 shoots with them. He hasn't done it for a little while now, but he's done other businesses since then. So I think, his last one was just before lockdown. So,
and does he still love it? Like, is that?
He loves it.
Check him a mic.
Yeah, actually, it was funny because I got a call yesterday from his school saying they've asked for him to do some modelling for actually the school, and I thought, he knows what he's doing. It's all good.
He'll literally produce it. Oh, fantastic. So that was us. That's how we met. So many, many years ago, Country Road, and then back and forth, back and forth. So we got to know, you know, like as you're on set, you sort of get to know and have a chat to all the mums, and you fill out the reams and reams and reams of paperwork.
Yeah, that's
It's a lot. It's a whole thing, but it does keep the children safe. So the child employment department, you know, require that you do all these things. So it was a lot, but it's worth it.
I also think, that the shoots that you were on were always the best fed shoots. So there was always amazing snacks, like little bags of tiny teddies. And
And healthy snacks.
always healthy. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it was a wonderful thing to be doing. And I've, over the years I've produced, I've lost count of how many photo shoots and motion shoots, but lots and lots and lots of kids shoots. And you're right, there's a whole mixture and it's wonderful, but I haven't sort of worked with kids for a long time. I went through a stage of doing a lot of kids and animals, and that was a thing. So,
I say never work with kids and animals.
I know, and I did it all. So back to you, and so when you and I met, you had a winery. So you were sort of juggling being a full-time mum, plus being what's the word for a winery owner? No, a wine label. What is it, Andy?
That was the thing. So we were partners in a wine business. So we didn't actually own the vineyard, but there was three partners, and we created this wine label. So Tempranillo was the grape variety.
And I have sampled it, and it was very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So we've since sold out of that business now, and we'll get into that.
This is what I want to know all about. So at that stage, you were doing that.
Yes.
And so had you ever worked before? Were you a stay-at-home mum, or what did you do, sort of work part-time, or how did you?
I'm trying to place the time period, but I pretty much was a stay-at-home mum for the first, really 10 years,
Wow.
8 to 10 years. I had part-time jobs, so I worked Friday night at our local wine bar in Mount Martha, and that was kind of like my night out as well as my job.
Oh, fabulous. See, I love that.
So that was fun. But I look at that now and think, oh my goodness, how did I do that? Because that was...
But literally, how did you do that? Because, I've got one son. I've worked for myself for a long time, like for forever. But having one child is, I'm always going, oh my God. And then I go, 2 children, 3 children, 4 children. I'm in awe of,
I know.
Mums especially, that just, we have to think about what's for dinner and the thing and the schools and as they get older, there's more.
Yeah.
But then also balancing doing that and enjoying that and making it a wonderful experience for your kids, and obviously your kids really, and I know this sounds weird to say, but they obviously really adore you. Every time I've met you, your children really behave in a way that they just really love you, and you really connect with them. And you don't always see that with parents and kids. No, not at all. I've seen plenty of times when, the kids are sort of like, whatever. But you guys always seem really, really connected as a family. Do you think that was part of you staying at home and having that time with them?
Possibly, yeah. We tend to, I sort of age appropriately treat them as adults, I sort of ask their advice for things rather than telling them what to do.
Yeah.
I'll sort of, for example, things like the social media. I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and I'll explain to her why I don't want her on it. I don't tell her she can't be on it, but these are the reasons. And I think that mutual respect,
Yeah.
But again, if I had a different child, that might not work. So no criticism to anyone else.
Yeah. And it's that whole thing of, do you work, don't you work, what's better? We're always making those sorts of choices, and it's difficult, We don't always make the right decisions, but you have to just own what you're doing and just go, well, this is right for us.
Yeah. And in saying that, I was somebody who loved toddlers in particular. I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher at that point, so I found it quite ezy being around little kids.
Yeah, right.
Were you one of a lot?
Were you one of a lot of
No,
children?
I've got an older brother and an older sister. But I was that mum that would hang around the kinder when I dropped them off and wanted to stay and play.
See,
so
there you go.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it, and so I probably find it quite hard now as they're getting older and don't need me as much.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. I know, my son's 15 this year.
Wow.
And it does go really, really quickly. Like literally 1 minute you are dropping them off at kinder.
Yeah.
And then skip forward
what seems like that, and they really don't need you as much.
No.
And it's a really, I don't know, I often have a little bit of a think to myself and think, did I put in enough time? Did I do that? You know?
I think all parents do, don't they?
Yeah.
I was
for sure.
hanging my son's socks on the line this morning, you know, big socks, thinking I remember hanging those tiny baby socks.
Those little baby socks.
And I remember thinking I wanted to capture those memories, and I never did. But now I've got these ginormous socks.
Yeah. It's cool, and it's meant to happen.
It is meant to happen, and that's our
happen.
job, isn't it?
Yeah,
to,
that's right. We're meant to make sure that they are, you know, equipped for the world.
That's right.
And we only have them for a short time, 18 summers, and then they're off and doing what they need to do. Okay, it's okay. It's all right. It's fine. Anyway, and so now you've found something, or you both, you and your husband, have found something that is very fabulous called
ETCH.
product placement there, please. Thank you very much. ETCH Sparkling. Hang on, I feel like I need to do that. ETCH.
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 So ETCH is the acronym for Every Time Choose Health. Did you know that?
Do you know what? I did know that because I
Okay.
read it on your socials.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, that's very clever. Who came up with that?
Me, actually.
Every time choose healthy.
Choose health.
Choose health,
Yeah,
sorry.
because it's a choice to choose health. And when we talk about choosing health, we don't mean that in a judgmental way. We mean that in a positive affirmation. So if
Yeah,
you
an
open the
encouraging
fridge
way.
and you
Yep.
see it, it's like, you know, it's that mantra, every time choose health. So, you know, trying to go for the healthier option. I'm not saying that I always do.
Yeah, but
But
we don't.
We
Nobody
try.
does.
No,
Yeah.
no one can be perfect.
Let us open
I
our
know.
little
I'm-
ETCH Sparklings. Now, shall I try doing
I'm
this?
going to do it on my...
Let's get them up. Oh.
It is a twist
Oh
top.
my goodness, it's so easy. Can we get this as a noise? Hang on, I get a little. Oh, it smells. That smells fantastic. What have I got
So
here?
the one you've got there is... So basically, I'll just tell you...
plum.
ETCH, at ETCH we make non-alcoholic sparkling beverages using Australian native fruits and herbs. So what you've got there is our plum, which is Davidson plum, riberry and strawberry gum. Now, before you drink the plum, you've got to smell the aromas, because
I could smell it from back there. It's amazing.
half of the journey with that one, I think, is in the aromatics. Strawberry gum is a eucalypt. It's not related to strawberries. So it has a really unique, I find it's quite like feijoa, kiwi fruit. Well, you'd know feijoas.
I'm mad for. I was raised. I'm a New Zealander, raised on feijoas, and I love them, and I miss them so much. Yeah. Strawberry.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Strawberry, pineapple, something.
Oh, they,
Anyway,
yeah, pineapple something.
Pineapple, something.
Yeah, so it's along those lines that people, it's quite sort of floral, watermelon, really interesting characters, but quite clean and dry when you taste it. So it smells like it's going to be sweet, but it finishes quite crisp and clean.
It really does, and this is non-alcoholic. That's the whole point of ETCH, is that it is non-alcoholic,
It's
but you still feel
non-alcoholic.
fancy pants, and you
That's
know, like
right.
this could go in a champagne glass. Really,
That's right.
couldn't
So
it?
you can,
Should have got champagne glasses. Dang. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
anyway, cheers.
Cheers. Salute. And what are you drinking, Andy?
Sorry, I need to have a sip.
You're right. You think it's going to be really sweet, and yet it hits you as quite a dry.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's very. Oh, I feel like I need to use some fancy words, but I can't. It just is. It's quite dry, and it's kind of got a.
I think the thing with what we were about was trying to create something sophisticated. So
There it is. It tastes like a sophisticated wine, I would almost say, or a champagne. Can't say champagne, like a sparkling
Yeah.
wine, but it's not. It's
so the base
beautiful.
of it is sparkling water. So there's nothing fermented in it. There's no probiotics like kombucha.
I love that.
But we just wanted something that offers you a sense of inclusion, tastes beautiful. You don't have to be a non-drinker to enjoy it. You can be spacing it in between your drinking. If you're having a night off or a designated driver, it's the perfect option. So it was really important to us that it looked pretty. So, you know, the labels were really important. And in particular, the honey, I think, I mean, that, not that we're trying to mimic wine at all, but that could be a glass of wine.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
for
And that
people
could
who
be
want
like
to feel that way, and a rosé. And then we have a third flavour, which is zest, which is finger lime, lemon myrtle and rosemary.
Ooh, that would be beautiful.
So that's beautiful citrus. This one, I haven't told you, this one is honey and rose water. And we make that using Mornington Peninsula local flora honey. So the bees collect the pollen from the local trees, the local manigums and the tea tree, to make this beautiful honey. So it's pretty special.
That is so special. That's so refreshing though.
Yeah, it is.
That's really delightful.
You can slam a few of those down on a hot day.
Yes, exactly. but they really aren't sickly sweet. I think I kind of imagined it would be a lot sweeter than what it is. I'm really enjoying this. Beautiful. Aren't you clever? So how did that come about then? How did ETCH come about? Like what happened? So you were doing photo shoots for the kids, and then you went, I'm going to do something else, because you're producing as well for a fabulous photographer.
Yes.
And as well, managing the business.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a bumpy ride to create ETCH. Like any life journey, I guess, nothing's that's worthwhile doing is easy. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to have skipped a few of those lessons, but unfortunately, that's not how it worked. But
I always say to my son, though, you know, you learn by making mistakes and by things going wrong.
Absolutely.
And that is literally how then you get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't just all come to you and fall into place, because that would be weird. That would be like a movie.
It's
not like that.
Well, and sometimes life smacks you in the head 100 times to get you to learn the lesson, and you don't learn it straight away.
That's right.
With ETCH, so my husband and I met while we were in the wine industry. We were both working for local wineries on the peninsula. He went on to have a 23-year career in wine, and started sort of from the bottom up to corporate life. And somewhere in that period of time, his relationship with wine changed from being something that, you know, we would have dinner parties and, you know, fine dining experiences, matching wine and food. Something changed so that it was more at a medicinal purpose for him.
Yeah,
so
right.
He needed wine. You know, at the start it was a glass of wine after a hard day, a glass of wine to get me to bed, to sleep. And it gradually developed into, you know, quite a bad period of time, really. So he ended up getting a dependency on alcohol. And so
I would wager that there are a lot of people out there listening to this, thinking, yes, I know someone, oh, that's me. Because, you know, it's very normalised, drinking alcohol.
Absolutely.
Every day. If you're not drinking on the weekend with friends and doing stuff, every day, having wine with dinner. Over COVID, who didn't turn into an alcoholic over there, you know, like, my goodness.
Yeah, and I think that's
everybody
the thing.
I know just drank so much more, who don't usually drink either.
No,
so,
people were drinking earlier in the day because there was nothing to do. And
correct. Stress, all of those sorts of things.
So that's part of really, that's why we talk about it, because it's not always something you're proud about talking about.
Yep,
but
it's uncomfortable,
it's
sure.
uncomfortable being vulnerable and sharing these sometimes, you know, not nice truths. But we are hoping to help people who are on train lines earlier than what we got to. So,
absolutely.
You know, there's plenty of stops to get off.
Yes.
And you know, unfortunately for Jason, we had to go to the end.
But that was his journey.
And we are now, you know, using ETCH as a message stick to really help other people.
I think that's fantastic. I love that. I mean, I don't wish that on anybody, but that was his journey.
Yep.
And that was his catalyst to get there. That was what he needed to do, you know, for all those reasons.
But so many people, I mean, there's a lot of talk around grey area drinking. And I think it's that inner voice that you have that you push away. And if you can hear that inner voice and just check in with it, you know, if you think I'm drinking too much, well, you probably are. So you don't have to stop drinking if it's not a major problem, but maybe just moderate. And we talk a lot about mindful drinking, so spacing your drinking. But if you're finding that you're really struggling with stopping after one, then that's an area too, which there's so much support out there. There's so many resources. It's just tapping into them. So we have learnt a lot of the there's a lot of peer support out there, and especially with social media now, there's so many great sites that you can get help if you feel that you need it. But in saying that, you can just enjoy ETCH anytime.
I think that's fantastic. And so the business, so he obviously he went, okay, enough already. This is what I need to do. I'm going to stop doing this and shift focus so that he could. So is this is to help other people? It wasn't just because he decided that he was going to, or you decided that you were going to create a drink that he could drink, you could drink. This was so that there was another drink out there, or a drink out there that you could have to feel like, you're included, because that is the thing. I think that's the thing about alcohol. If you go to a barbecue in Australia, or probably anywhere, you bring a bottle of wine or a bottle of champagne or a whatever, or you have water or whatever it might be. Yeah. And then that's that whole exclusive kind of vibe going on. Hey, you're so clever. I love this.
I think that's the thing. We obviously did market research when we. I remember the moment Jason came out of rehab. He spent 3 weeks in a rehab facility and came out, and he'd lost his spark because wine was his everything. It was his social connections, it was his career, it was his finances.
That's huge.
Who am I without this?
Yeah.
And I remember the exact moment where I looked at him and said, why don't we make a non-alcoholic drink for people? And his lights just swithed on.
I just got goosebumps then.
Yeah.
I love that, Andy.
Yeah.
I love that. What a clever lady you are.
Thank you. And I just saw the spark come back in his eyes, and then he just went off. He's the most amazing businessman, and the creative juices started flowing, and conversations started about, well, what does it look like? And around that same time, he went on a bushwalk with a local Indigenous man called Lionel Louch, who, I don't know if you've heard of Living Culture. They're a fabulous business down here on the Mornington Peninsula. They do a lot of talks at schools and a lot of educational programs. And Jason's dad had organised for him to go on a walk with Lionel. It was a men's walk. And they walked down, I think it was down near Bushrangers Bay. I wasn't allowed to know about it because it was secret men's business. Wow. And Lionel talked about, it was basically like walking through a native supermarket. So he talked about, the berries and the ingredients that were around us. And Jason's mind was just blown because he was like, there's all these things that we don't know about that are growing naturally in our environment. So that started us on the journey of native plants and learning about native ingredients, which we're still obviously very early stages of learning about. Indigenous people have been using these plants as food and as medicines for many years.
Yeah, right.
So it's has become quite popular in fine dining restaurants, and I don't know if you've noticed, like MasterChef this year was quite dominated by a lot of native plants.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so the drink space is just sort of starting to emerge now. So.
And so ETCH is how many years old now?
Just over a year.
And so you would have launched then just before COVID hit.
Yes. So November 2019.
Wow.
Which feels like yesterday and a gazillion years ago too, doesn't it?
Because last year, I mean, that would have been really difficult to be trying to, well, maybe it worked to your advantage. A captive, I don't know. How did that go?
Well, our business plan had to, like everyone else, pivot. Originally we had plans to get out and see people around the countryside, and that obviously couldn't happen. So we were able to build an online presence, which we hadn't expected to do, and I think social media is an amazing tool for that. We connected with some incredible people and spread the word. So One of our very loyal supporters is Sober in the Country, Shanna Wan. She has quite a large sober community, and so we were getting people purchasing ETCH from really random places all over Australia, which we would never have expected. We have got stockists in Kakadu, we've got stockists 200 kilometres out of Esperance.
How fabulous.
Yeah.
Did you ever, I mean, could you ever have imagined that you would be doing this at this stage in your life? Like,
No.
right, at one point in my life, I'm going to be starting up a business. I'm going to work out how to actually produce, manufacture, design, come up with this is huge. You know?
Well, for starters, I think back in the day, we would think people who didn't drink were a bit weird.
Well, that's the culture. That's the culture.
I know, and that's a horrible thing to say because
is.
both Jason and I don't drink anymore. So it's opened up a whole new world for us, and I just find our work is so meaningful now.
Yeah. Bet you is.
I mean, at the time we loved what we were doing, but the conversation, so we do a lot of farmers markets and craft markets on weekends, and you know, sometimes that's getting up really early and getting out in the rain and setting up the tent, and you'd think that was something that's not so much fun, but I think Jason and I actually love that as one of our most favourite parts, because we're connecting with the humans.
Yeah.
We're able to have conversations with people, share our story, and
that
listen to theirs.
That is the whole root of it. There is a story around it that's really, you know, it could have been quite tragic. The end of Jason's story, had it not taken a particular turn, and this is the amazing thing that's happened from it, and obviously brought you closer. You know, for you guys to be waking up and doing this and getting out there, I mean, that's a scary journey, you know, even outside of why it started, to be actually working with your partner, and that's always a lot to ask, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know?
I guess so, but I think we're having so much fun. There's times it's not all fun, it's not all easy.
And do you have designated kind of roles? Does he do a particular thing, and you know, do you come up with ideas for flavours, or do you come up with ideas for the artwork, or how you're going to do things, or what do? You look after the social media?
I look after the social media. I sort of say I do the fluffy stuff, which
Andy,
I know.
no, you don't. You don't. I believe that it was your idea to actually launch this drink, correct?
Well, like somebody mentioned to me the other day, it's only fluffy and fun because I know how to do it. So Jason might look at the social media and be completely like bogged down by it.
Yep.
Whereas he tends to do the more financial stuff, the production. He makes the hard-hitting decisions. But he will always come to me. So I think we're a really good team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody has their own strength, and you have so many amazing qualities that you bring into it just by, you know, being able to raise two wonderful children, really. I mean, because there's all of that and everything that goes with it. Nurse, cook, million, plus working for a photographer. You know, plus doing all of the other stuff you need to do to be a functioning member of the community, and then, you know, coming up and supporting him and, you know, being able to inject your ideas as well. I would say you probably, in fact, it'd be interesting to speak with Jason and for him to know that you think that you know, come up with these fluffy ideas. Hey, I bet you he would shoot you down and go, what do you mean fluffy? She's the da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think it's, you know, how we view it, but, you know, integral and team. Everybody's got their own strengths.
Yeah.
And you bring so many other wonderful things to this project.
Yes, I know it's not good to downplay things, is it? But we definitely have our own strengths, and I love the connecting with people side of things. I love the social media. Having good photos is really important, and
oh yes,
we've got a great set of photos that always helps. But yeah, we're having fun, and you know, Jason he'll often say, performance review needed tonight, send me a text, and we'll have a meeting at 9 o'clock at night where we're discussing, what the next steps are. We might be, at the moment, we're looking at some new flavours. I won't give away too many secrets.
No, do not give away any secrets.
But that's the stuff I love. I'm a real foodie, so I love that idea of combinations of flavours, and like I said, learning about native Australian ingredients, which are still new to me.
Yeah.
Being able to sort of work out what flavours work with what, and so that's all really fun stuff.
And what about, who do you go out to, restaurants or stores, or how does that, you would have to do that?
So we look after the Mornington Peninsula mostly, and then we have distributors.
Finished and amazing already, having another one.
We have
so
distributors who help us. So when we're in lockdown in Victoria, we have our distributor in South Australia who they weren't in lockdown, and he was able to get ETCH into the Foodland group, which was wonderful. So that's like our IGA group here. So other states have got people on the ground that selling ETCH. So
That's huge. It sounds like such a large thing that you're doing. Like, how do you keep track of it in your brain about what happens to what has to happen next?
I think that's why I say he does that hard stuff, because I think those, he's very on top of what happens next, and then he'll come to me and we'll discuss what we do.
Yeah.
He's actually going on his first trip out of the state next week, fingers crossed. And
Not
meeting
to New
some
South
new,
Wales, is it?
yeah. So restaurants branching into. I think we've got about 140 stockists around Australia so far, and some of them are, tiny little a bottle shop in the middle of nowhere. Or
I love that. They're the important places.
That's
though.
right.
Like there is no small supplier.
No, that's right. And sometimes they're the ones that.
Well, you have a fan here now.
Oh, well, that's good.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's very unexpected. Sorry to cut you off, but it's so unexpected. It's an unexpected flavour, and there's a beautiful after taste as well.
Yeah.
It's really
I
interesting.
don't know if I mentioned to you, but the one you're tasting, plum and zest, are both sugar-free, and our honey has a teeny bit of raw honey in it, so no preservatives as well. So all natural, that's the every time choose health. And I wanted to make comment about your earrings. I don't know if you noticed today that you were wearing earrings that match our label, or whether that was a coincidence.
Totally. The universe set us up, Andy. Let's just compare. H. Can you see that?
So honey. So our
Honey and
Christmas
rosewater.
beetle represents our passion for regenerative and sustainable farming, and we have a wonderful designer, Cato brand partners, who helped us with the design, and we gave them the brief that these were our passions and interests, and this is what our values are at ETCH, and they came up with that. So I love that you just so happened to
just picked it up in
your
the
Christmas
universe.
beetle earrings.
This is how the universe works, Andy. This is how the universe works. So if you skip forward 5 years, what do you reckon you're going to be doing?
It's funny, sometimes I actually really want it to stay as it is, which is not how business works.
Which means it's going to be huge, like it's going to go worldwide. And you go, we're going to stay, and it's not.
Well,
It's
because
not.
we're having so much fun, it's just, yeah. So Jason would have a much clearer answer for you on that, but I'm really enjoying the process of it, and it would be great if we make some money from it one day. We're getting there.
Well, you're only in the first year, so
first year.
remember.
That's right. And apparently someone told me the other day that last year didn't count. So we've really just launched.
Excellent. I feel confident in that.
So, look, I just hope we have...
And then Darby and Mayo will come on board and work for... This is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like it's a whole big...
family affair.
Family affair. That's what's going to happen.
Well, it is. So Maya and Darby both help us out with the farmers markets. Darby and Jason tend to go first thing because Maya and I aren't morning people, and they'll go and set up the tents and get everything set up, and then Maya and I rock up like rock stars a little bit later.
With the
And
coffees.
the salespeople are here, and the kids will help out by, we sell 6-packs, so they make up the little 6-packs, and they're both a little bit quiet. Their sales skills need to be worked on.
But how fabulous. I love that. I love that you're, as a family, you're doing this. They get out, they see the world, they see mum and dad in the world doing their stuff and doing something that they're so passionate about.
Yeah. Good business skills they learn from an early age. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're a very clever lady, Auntie.
Thank you.
Very clever. And I hope you come back again another time. Thank you so much for this delight. Oh, hang on, where we are. No, I didn't have the honey one.
No, you have to have the honey.
The earrings with the beetle.
So perfect.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.